What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Today, I want to do kind of a news update. This is going to be a news piece where we talk about basically the door being closed on Miss. I believe her name is Lane Maxwell, but we're going to call her Miss Maxwell. Basically, the 61-year-old, as of now, the main assistant to Jeffrey Epstein from the Jeffrey Epstein case. We know 3 years ago, he basically sent himself to the upper room, self-deleted, by way of hanging. I'm doing that in quotes, while he was incarcerated. And this is very relevant to like what's going on in the Diddy case. So I wanted to cover this. This actually was put out here like maybe 2 days ago. And she has been on appeal, basically saying whatever deal that they had struck for people that were trying to either assist in the investigation or co-conspirators were basically immune to being basically put on trial. And as you can see, after the untimely death of Jeffrey Epstein, they're like, somebody's about to pay for it. They were basically saying mantra. So basically, let's go through it. So the court rejects, Miss Maxwell's sex trafficking conviction. And these are the type of cases, they're not going to put this on, CNN. They're not going to, spread this out. So what they're going to do is act like this didn't exist, sweep it under the rug, and make, black men once again the face of, sex crime, sex trafficking, all the things is bad. And shout out to Professor Black Truth as well for covering this and covering that angle on it as well. Shout out to the correction. No, Harvey Weinstein is not out of jail. He was only able to beat one count. I'll post that comment of the guy that corrected that. So shout out to y'all. I'm not always right. So anyway, let's jump right into it. So a Manhattan-based appeals court on Tuesday upheld British socialite, okay, she's from, Britain, Miss Maxwell's sex trafficking conviction for helping the late Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse 4 teenage girls between 1994 and 2004. This is just what they could get them on. The ruling marks the latest development in the disgraced British socialite's legal challenges, which resulted in her incarceration. Maxwell, 62, has been serving 20-year prison sentence since June 2022 after she was convicted on 5 out of 6 counts related to her involvement with Epstein's. Wow. So she's going to get out of there. She's going to be 80 years old. Real talk, she don't look too bad, for somebody 62 and white, because you already know how that is. In December 2021, Maxwell was found guilty of sex trafficking of a minor, transportation of a minor to engage in illegal sex, and 3 counts of conspiracy in connection with other charges. She was found not guilty of luring a minor to travel to participate in illegal sex acts. Maxwell's argument for an appeal hinged on a 2007, this is how far that goes back, non-prosecutorial agreement between Epstein and federal prosecutors in southern Florida, according to the news report. So you mean to tell me, Telegraph and, BBC, you mean to tell me that you're going all the way back to 2007? Like, when they got Epstein for what they got him for, that was not in 2007. That's actually kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. Maxwell claims she should be set free under the terms of the weird deal. I don't know what that is. Weird deal, really? Which prevented prosecutors from pursuing Epstein's alleged co-conspirators until more recently. Yeah, that was a Hail Mary. I can say that right now. That was a Hail Mary. At the end of the day, she was pretty much number 2 as far as Epstein could not do what he did as easily as he did without her. She was pretty much the logistics person. She was the chief operating officer of what he was going down. Now, what makes this unique is that she is a female, and usually they let women skate on this, but given they ain't have nobody else to go after, I think this is a unique case. Also, keep in mind she is from Britain, so it's interesting that you don't really hear nothing from Britain in regarding to this. So they pretty much are letting the United States do whatever they want to do. So she is not getting no help from the Isle, the British Isles. And so that's really interesting. Her lawyer contended that the federal government was barred from nationwide prosecutions. Epstein's potential 4 co-conspirators, including 4 named any agreement, according to the news outlets. Maxwell, however, was not among the identified co-conspirators. The 3-judge panel on the Second Circuit, U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, ruled that the agreement intended to only bind prosecutors in southern Florida. Given that she was prosecuted in New York, the court dismissed the argument altogether, declared her sentence to be procedurally reasonable. Moreover, Maxwell legal team argued that the prosecutor scapegoated Maxwell because Epstein was dead and demanded that she be held accountable for involving herself in the disgraced financier's illicit activities. The defense also claimed Maxwell's criminal trial was tainted because one of the jurors who were convicted did not disclose that he had been sexually abused as a child. Epstein died in prison in 2019, 5 weeks after his arrest and sex trafficking charges. His death was ruled a suicide. Maxwell's attorney vowed to appeal. So, I mean, the thing about it is that, sure, she's being, I wouldn't say she's being scapegoated because Epstein couldn't do this without her. Epstein couldn't do this without her. And I'm not saying that's always the case for everybody, but whenever it's situations like this, as far as I'm concerned, you got to get everybody. You can't, or you got to get like the top folks. You cannot be on this where we're going to get this man and put this man out here as what's the problem, as if there wasn't a whole infrastructure in place to allow him to do what he did and hide it. It's the same thing with Sean Combs. Get them all. Point blank, period. And the problem is, what happens is these are really sacrifices on the altar of keeping a lot of stuff, keeping what's under the underbelly, well, under the underbelly. And to me, this is relevant to the Diddy situation because, number one, they don't like guys like Jeffrey Epstein out there because, you know, this becomes a political issue as far as who's the face of these things. They want to keep the same narrative going. Also, you know, this also is relevant to accomplices and people that allow these things to go on. This is where people can look at these civil cases and look at patterns of who's always involved. You know, we'll see how they go, because if they just want to get Diddy, then they're going to give people deals. But I think in Diddy's situation personally, not a lawyer, not an attorney, just a Negro in opinion, what I think is going to happen is they may offer better deals, but they're not gonna, people are not gonna just get off if they turn witness. Maybe one person might get away with that, but it's like, why would you do that? Well, technically they can't use Cassie because Cassie's already got her money, but I don't think they need to. Do I think, but I do need to be fair to Sean Combs, because Professor Black Truth put this out here, and a couple of people in my comments put this out here. But Professor Black Truth said this very pointedly. He said, when you really listen to what that guy had to say, again, I refer you to my last video on the actual DA saying what he's saying. When you actually listen to what he says, a lot of what he said was not necessarily criminal. Like, having sex parties is not criminal. You know, and a couple of y'all, to be fair, did say that in the comment section. Like, having baby oil isn't criminal. Like, these things are made to seem like obnoxious and outrageous because, and it creates this assumption of guilt in the court of public opinion. And that's a really scary thing, how a lot of times they like to convict people in the court of public opinion because that takes away the pressure of having to do things a certain type of way. And it's very easy to do that when it comes to black men. Now, the problem is Diddy's got a lot of enemies, but the question is, what did he do here? And even that video with Cassie, the reality is they put, 50 Cent said it and everybody said it, they put that out there because they couldn't do statute of limitations, but that was designed to put him out there as far as the court of public opinion. That's what that's designed to do. You notice how I don't see them putting a white person out there like that, and that's just real talk. I don't care what he did. That's just real talk. And so, anyway, let me know what you think. Have you forgotten about the Jeffrey Epstein story? Have you forgotten about this chick? Do you think this chick was scapegoated? Do you think she deserved to be scapegoated? Have you seen that documentary on Netflix? Because if you really want to get an idea of like how instrumental she was in his operation, that documentary on Netflix that talks about Jeffrey Epstein, she's prominent in it. it was other people involved, even younger people. They brought younger people to him, but she's the one that pretty much was like the operator. She was like an art gallery chick that pretty much managed all of on the front end, managed all of Jeffrey Epstein's art. And so that's kind of was their gateway and how to bring people in. So let me know what you think about this. Do you want me to cover more news pieces like this? And if you're new here, appreciate you stopping by. If you got this far, appreciate that as well. Make sure you subscribe and you hit that notification. Make sure you check out my links in the description as well. Make sure y'all support and keep the truth going. And let me check in with a like and check out with a comment. So with that being said, until next time, this is Edward signing off. Peace.